When you hear the name Pablo Escobar, what comes to mind? A ruthless drug lord? A billionaire criminal? A man who ruled with fear yet was loved like a king? But what if I told you that the real story of Pablo Escobar is far crazier than anything you've ever seen on TV? From burning millions in cash just to stay warm, to owning a personal zoo full of exotic animals, to offering to pay off Colombia's entire national debt. This is the jaw-dropping truth behind the life of the world's most infamous drug lord. Right finger buckle up, because here are 15 insane things you didn't know about Pablo Escobar. 1. He made more money than some countries' economies. Let's start with the obvious. Pablo Escobar was rich. But just how rich? At the peak of his empire in the late 1980s, Escobar was raking in over $420 million per week. That's around $22 billion per year. To put that into perspective, Escobar made more money than the GDP of some countries. He was literally richer than entire nations. And the craziest part? He had so much cash that he couldn't even launder it all. His cartel had to bury money in fields, hide it in walls, and stash it in warehouses because they simply couldn't spend it fast enough. 2. He spent $2,500 per month just on rubber bands for his cash. And speaking of cash, Pablo Escobar's fortune was so massive that even organizing his money was a logistical nightmare. His accountants estimated that they spent over $2,500 per month just on rubber bands. Yes, just to keep the stacks of cash together. 3. He lost billions to rats and weather. But when you're hiding billions of dollars, things don't always go as planned. Escobar's cartel buried so much cash in hidden locations that an estimated 10% of it, over $2 billion, was eaten by rats, damaged by floods, or simply lost forever. Can you imagine being so rich that losing billions doesn't even matter? 4. He once burned $2 million in cash to keep his daughter warm. Here's one of the most mind-blowing facts about Pablo Escobar. He loved his family, especially his daughter, Manuela. One night, while hiding in the mountains, his daughter was freezing. With no firewood available, Escobar set fire to $2 million in cash just to keep her warm. Yes, he literally burned millions just for warmth. 5. He owned an illegal zoo with hippos, elephants, and giraffes. Imagine having your own private zoo. Not just with a few exotic birds, but with actual hippos, elephants, giraffes, and zebras. Escobar built his own personal zoo called Hacienda Naples, a massive estate covering thousands of acres. He smuggled animals from Africa and turned his land into a luxurious playground. Today, some of his hippos have actually taken over Colombian rivers and are considered an invasive species. 6. He once offered to pay off Colombia's national debt. Here's something insane. At one point, Pablo Escobar was so wealthy that he offered to pay off Colombia's entire national debt just so the government would leave him alone. That's right. He proposed paying $10 billion to clear Colombia's debt. Of course, the government refused. But imagine, what if they had said yes? 7. He smuggled drugs in plain tires. Escobar's cartel got creative when it came to smuggling cocaine into the United States. One of their wildest tricks was stuffing cocaine into airplane tires. Each plane could carry up to 500 kilograms of cocaine, earning the cartel millions per trip. And here's the real kicker. Escobar was so powerful that he even bought his own airline just to smuggle drugs more efficiently. 8. He had a private island for drug operations. What's better than an airline? A private island. Escobar used Norman's Cay, a small island in the Bahamas, as his personal drug trafficking hub. It had an airstrip, luxury homes, and a massive cocaine warehouse. Authorities eventually shut it down, but for years, it was the gateway to his billion-dollar empire. 9. He built his own prison, and it was a luxury resort. When the government finally forced Escobar to serve prison time, he made them an offer they couldn't refuse. He agreed to surrender, but only if he could build his own prison. The result? La Catedral. A prison with a nightclub, jacuzzi, soccer field, and even a waterfall. He basically turned his sentence into a vacation. 10. He once ran for office and almost won. Here's something wild. Escobar didn't just want to be a drug lord. He wanted to be a politician. In 1982, he ran for Congress in Colombia, and almost won. If he had succeeded, he might have gained even more power, changing the course of history forever. 11. He smuggled cocaine using homemade submarines. When you think of drug smuggling, you probably imagine planes, cars, or hidden compartments. But Pablo Escobar took it to an entirely new level. He built his own submarines. Yes, Escobar's cartel designed and used homemade submarines to transport massive shipments of cocaine undetected. These narco subs could carry tons of drugs across the ocean, making it nearly impossible for authorities to track them. And here's the craziest part. Some of these submarines are still being found today, rusting away at the bottom of the ocean, filled with the remnants of his empire. 12. He spent millions on bribes, but if that didn't work, he used violence. Escobar had a simple motto, plata o plomo. In English, that means silver or lead. It was his way of saying that people could either take his bribe, silver, or face death, lead from a bullet. And he took this rule seriously. Escobar spent hundreds of millions of dollars bribing politicians, judges, police officers, and even journalists. But if someone refused his money, they were usually never seen again. This brutal strategy allowed him to control entire cities, making Colombia one of the most dangerous places in the world during his reign. 13. He once plotted to bomb the Colombian Supreme Court. Pablo Escobar didn't just bribe politicians, he also declared war on the Colombian government. In one of his most shocking and violent moves, he orchestrated an attack on the Colombian Supreme Court in 1985. With the help of a guerrilla group, he had the court raided, destroying thousands of legal files and eliminating evidence that could be used against him. This wasn't just about avoiding prison, it was a statement of power. Escobar was willing to go to any lengths to protect his empire. 14. He tried to change his identity and escape Colombia as law enforcement closed in. Escobar knew his time was running out. So what did he do? He tried to vanish. He attempted to fake his identity, create false passports, and even undergo plastic surgery to escape capture. He had plans to flee to Germany or the Middle East with his family. But escaping wasn't so easy. He was constantly being hunted by the Colombian government, the US DEA, and even his former allies. And in the end, even all his wealth couldn't buy him freedom. 15. His death remains a mystery. On December 2, 1993, Pablo Escobar was finally tracked down in Medellin. He tried to escape across the rooftops, but a bullet to the head ended his reign forever. But here's where things get strange. To this day, nobody knows for sure who fired the fatal shot. The official story says Colombian special forces killed him in a shootout. Others believe a sniper took him down from a distance. But some, including his own family, insist that Escobar took his own life, knowing he would never be captured alive. Whatever the truth may be, his death marked the end of an era of crime, corruption, and unimaginable wealth. And there you have it, 15 insane things you never knew about Pablo Escobar. But let's be real, this is just the tip of the iceberg. His story is one of power, violence, corruption, and unimaginable wealth. Now, I want to hear from you. Which fact shocked you the most? Pablo Escobar was more than just a criminal. He was a legend, a villain, and a symbol of power unlike anything the world had ever seen. But what do you think? Was he just a ruthless drug lord, or was he something more? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love insane real-life stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Fire until next time, stay curious, and stay out of trouble. Fire.